on for a second. There's some pretty flowers. I think this is a marigold, maybe. Or marigold is smaller. Won't let me focus. What's up? Whatever. So stay tuned. I'm going to talk about chess later when I get away from the houses. We'll talk about chess later. Gonna have a little prayer. ちょっと祈ってきますね。What the fuck is that noise? Did you hear that? What the fuck was that? What the fuck was that noise? What the fuck? Beware the wild boar. Hello. 孝太郎、こんばんは。最近、昨日か。昨日イノシシ見ました。でもペットでした。ベルかな。こんばんは。Hello。さっきなんか変な音があってさ、怖かったです。怖がりました。みんなヘローって言ってくれてる。こんばんは。お散歩で、そう散歩です。お散歩です。はい。まあ遅いからちょっと声小さくしてます。ちょっとね、みんな寝てるかもしれない。でももう寒いからもう窓を閉めてると思う。みんな多分日本って面白いね。日本好き。 浜に向かっています。浜近いところにあるビーチ。みんな元気？そう、チェスの話しようとしてた。I was going to talk about chess. ちょっとみんなの家から離れたらその話します。みんなさ、チェスやったことありますか？将棋？ Have you played chess? ちょっと寒くなってるね。まだ半袖だけど。みんな寒いかな。Okay. So, I was going to talk about chess. Okay. Getting there. So some people ask me on the channel about, I play chess on the channel sometimes. So people ask me if, like how long I've been playing and all that stuff. Hold on. Okay. How good you are at chess is very relative, right? So, I'm good at chess as far as like if I play chess with random people, I'm good. But if I went to tournaments, I'm very not good. Okay, I'm not I'll get destroyed. Let me read the chat. こんばんは。めっちゃ虫の音？ああ、虫の音多分俺のサンドルだと思う。そうだね。なんていう？セミじゃなくて似たやつ。イナゴとかいますね。でも大丈夫。そんなに出てこない。怖いのは雲なんですよね。雲が好きじゃない。普通に。で、なんかウェブあるんじゃないですか。英語でウェブって言うんだけど、なんていうかわかんない。雲が作るやつ、ウェブが、なんか普通、歩いたら普通ぶつからないんでしょう。普通は。でも俺変な時間で散歩してるからさ、なんか昨日この近くのところで俺見てぶつからなかったよかったけど、もうぶつかりそうで、なんかめっちゃでかいウェブ、普通に歩いてるところで、もう今日もう車が絶対そこ通ったからもう絶対ないけど、もうこの多分朝の5時くらいだったから、新しいそういうなんかでかい雲いるんじゃないですか、外。たまにじゃない、いつも夏だといつもいるやつ、でかいやついるでしょ。なんかそういう雲が作ってたんですよ。夜ご飯何でしたか？夜ご飯まだ食べてないです。起きたばかりです。はい。起きたばかりです。 何食べましたか？チョチョの巣。チョチョの巣。ああ、顔とかくっついて、あ、わかるわかる。なんかね、ワームみたいな虫いるよね。多分チョチョかガーになるやつだと思う。で、なんか落ちてくるんだよね。上から日本って。なんかアメリカで見てなかったけど、ありそうだけど、俺、なんていう、当該だから、でも東京でも、まあ、木があるところで歩いたらたまにぶつかるんだよね。なんかここだったね、昨日。雲のウェブとぶつかりそうで朝の5時で5時だったの、いや2時ぐらいだったと思う。でもう一回朝6時ぐらい歩いたらもうぶつかった普通になんか忘れた、そこにあるって。俺ちょっと背が高いから他の外で散歩をしてた人もいたけど、6時だから行ったけど、俺背が高いからぶつかっちゃった。もうやだ、雲大嫌い雲大嫌い。ちょちょは分かんないけどね。そう、チェスの話しようとしてた。チェス、まあ誰かそれ日本語で言ってほしいなら、それチャットで言ってくれたら日本語で教えますよ。とりあえずチェスの話ちょっと英語でやろうと思って。So chess, back to the chess talk. So what was it? Right, it's relative how good you are. So if I went to a tournament, I'm pretty bad, okay? And I haven't been to a tournament since I was a kid. But if anyway, it's relative. So most people who watch chess online, at least so far in my experience, look at my rating and my play and everything and think I'm really good, because good is relative. And so if they're, a typical kid, they'll look at my chess play and think, wow, he's so good, how do I get so good? So anyway, I don't consider myself particularly good from like a serious chess standpoint. From a casual standpoint, like, two people, like people randomly meet and say, oh, you want to play a game of chess or something? Usually I win those, Even the Japanese chess, shogi. So like now I'm pretty good at shogi, but actually last year I was in Tokyo, and even though I was still learning the rules, how the pieces move, because I'm pretty good at chess, a lot of those skills translated over. And I won like 5 games in a row against different people at different bars and stuff. While I was still learning how the pieces move, I was crushing people. And they're just like, what the hell? And they're kind of embarrassed because I'm a foreigner. So to beat them at shogi, sometimes they're a little embarrassed. But anyway, some of those skills translate over. So like, oh, it's out of focus. So actually a skill that really translated, probably the most important skill, is you can look at, like, there's going to be sort of natural, obvious moves, basically. sometimes there's one super obvious natural move, sometimes there's a handful of them. You know, once you know how the game works, like, this is an obvious move, I'll improve this piece, you know, or I'll take this piece, or whatever it is. But when I was playing shogi and I hadn't fully memorized how the pieces move, but I was playing against people, I figured I'm probably not gonna beat them by making the obvious moves all the time. Now, sometimes you want to make the obvious moves because it's just a really strong move. Okay, so don't avoid all the obvious moves as a rule just because they're obvious. But yeah, I was thinking I have to think a little deeper. So sometimes there are moves that are very subtle. So they're less obvious. And those are really the beautiful moves sometimes. You know, like a grandmaster will think for a very long time and then they'll just move a pawn on the other side of the board. And at first you're like, why did they do that? Like, there's all this action happening on the king's side or whatever. And they just did this, like, seemingly totally useless, unimportant move. But then if you analyze it carefully, oh, it actually does a few things. You know, good moves in chess typically do at least 2 or 3 things. So that's another, well, people starting with chess or shogi, they obviously learn the rules, how the game works. But then what they need to do is play longer games. I mean, if you enjoy like a 3-minute game and you're just enjoying it, that's cool. Do what you enjoy as the first priority. But as a second priority, if you play longer games and take the time to think and really consider a lot of possibilities, a lot of different moves, so that you hopefully make less mistakes, you know, just think. That's the bottom line. Because a lot of people who are kind of early with their chess, I've seen them they kind of move impulsively a little bit. They hurry too much. They'll think on a lot of moves, and then suddenly, for some reason, they just move very quickly, and they actually very commonly make mistakes when they do that. Now, if you get better, if you've been playing for a long time, then you get better at blitz and bullet chess, and you can maybe do those things. But anyway, so that's all I'm saying is I was going for the subtle moves. But not just to make a subtle move, like the less obvious moves. Not only to say, look, Mom, I made a less obvious move. But rather, because I thought that's how I have to win. I'm probably not going to win by making moves that my opponent has already considered. I need to make moves that my opponent has not considered. So that's what I did, and that's how I won probably 5 or 6 times in a row against different opponents, even though I was still learning how the pieces move with shogi. Anyway, that was the main thing. Another thing, since I'm on this topic, I was going to tell kind of my history with chess, but since I'm on this topic, there's one other thing, which is sort of trusting your intuition. This applies to games in general, but so intelligence. So this actually is what got me interested in chess about 10 years ago. For I guess the second or third time I got interested in chess. was that I realized that intelligence happens where your intuition lies. You could say instinct, but no, intuition is a little better. So I realized this when I was tutoring chess for a few years, because I thought that did I say tutoring chess? Tutoring math. Tutoring math for a few years, and when I started that, I was 17, and I thought, and there's a lot of truth to what I'm about to say, but I don't think this way anymore. But I thought that anyone can learn math, which is true. Anyone can learn math, no matter how advanced it is. Anyone can learn it. That is true, but you would need, for the advanced topics, you would need an insanely good teacher for the advanced topics. But anyway, anyone can learn it, because I thought it's basically a language, math. So I thought I was very good at math. I was the best in my school at math. And I just thought that it's because I'm interested. You know, I get excited when the teacher's lecturing to us, giving a lecture. I'm excited. Like, that's my highlight of the day. And there's a lot of truth to what I'm saying here, but it's not the full story, I think. But anyway, I thought that the main difference between me and other people was just that I really enjoyed this. So if somebody else did something they really enjoyed, they'd get better at that. Like, let's say somebody enjoyed gardening. And I like gardening now, but back then I was totally not interested in that. So, you know, but I'm just saying, if you're passionate about something, you get better at it. So I enjoyed math. Now that does play a big role. And in fact, maybe that's the only reason I'm good at math. There's no natural ability. It's just that I'm passionate, or I enjoy it, or whatever. And that might be true. But when I was tutoring people, I realized that what did I want to say? So if you read a math problem, then I would read the math problem and think, probably I would have a few different ways to try to solve it. Suppose it's a problem where the solution isn't immediately obvious. You have to think a bit. I would think of a few ways to solve the problem. You know, by the time I'm finished reading the question, if it's a word problem. So, whereas the person I'm tutoring who's struggling, they have to read the question a few times, and then they have to really think, just to sort of barely and maybe think of one possible way of trying to solve the problem. Right, so for me, this is at the level of perception or intuition. I finished reading the problem, I didn't have to think. Sometimes I do, of course, but for me, I realized, like, the intelligence lies in the intuition. And I guess now I would also say perception and intuition. And actually, I've been watching a lot of these. There's this YouTuber called Mentor Pilot, and he goes over airline crashes, and what went wrong. It's always, there's multiple things that went wrong that line up to lead to an airline crash. And so he talks about how a pilot can have an erroneous idea of what's happening. And there's like 3 levels. The first is perception. There's I think it's perception, and then interpretation, and then the third, I forget. But he said if the error in thinking has occurred at the level of perception, it's very difficult to rectify that. That's where it's most difficult to rectify. So anyway, so I would say yeah, that was my experience tutoring math. That I felt like, that's where the intelligence lies. It's with perception and intuition. Anyway, so at some point I thought about that with chess. Okay, I was tutoring math like between the ages of 17 to like 21, a few years. And when I was 25 or so, I thought of sort of applying that to chess. Like, and what I mean by that is that when I used to play chess when I was a kid, for example, let's suppose you're attacking the opponent's king. Their king is somewhat secure, but you've got some pieces lined up and you're trying to think of an attack. Nowadays, because I focus on intuition, nowadays I'm much more likely to do a sacrifice. Like, there are a lot of sacrifices that I do, not just willy-nilly, but there are sacrifices I do where it's like immediately obvious to me, do this sacrifice, this is just very strong. And I'm not necessarily, I'm almost always not calculating out all the possibilities of what's going to happen after that. But I just I feel, I intuit that this is very strong, so I do it. And it's funny because, so I had that new approach towards chess where I focus on intuition, as opposed to calculating. When I was younger, I wouldn't do a sacrifice unless I had calculated out quite a lot to see, like, very concretely, oh, this is to my advantage. Either I'm getting checkmate or I have a material advantage. I wouldn't have done a sacrifice just for some positional advantage ever when I was playing when I was a kid and a teenager. And so I was not a intuitional player back then. And so what I was going to say was, what was I going to say? Yes. So now I focus on intuition, and it makes chess more interesting to me. Anyway, I think that's the way chess is supposed to be played. I mean, now I know more about what the greatest chess players say. It's funny because they say the same kind of things that I sort of decided for myself. Like, I mean, Magnus Carlsen refers to himself as an intuitional player. And Garry Kasparov, I forget exactly what he was saying, but basically the same thing that I'm saying, that, he relies on his intuition. And, Garry Kasparov is an incredibly quick analyzer of chess. If you listen to him talk. Anyway, so, and I've heard him talk about how he does sacrifices, and he doesn't calculate out all the possibilities. Mikhail Tal, Kasparov, Carlsen, they rely on their intuition. If their intuition tells them that a sacrifice is good, they might think about it a lot. They might work out a lot of different lines, but when it comes time to make the move, if their intuition still tells them that's the best move, even though they haven't, concretely guaranteed it via calculation, they'll still make the move. They rely on their intuition. Because you have to, because that's where intelligence lies, basically, at the level of intuition. That's what I think. So when I was thinking this way, it got me interested in chess again, because now I'm playing in a very different way. I'm not calculating everything out, and actually the game becomes more enjoyable and more beautiful when you start playing that way. And so I started doing that when I was like 25, which is like 12 years ago, and that's just, it's been a hobby since then, an enjoyable hobby. But when I was a kid, I played some chess, and there's a crazy story with this guy named Robert Snyder. Oh, I thought this was a person for a second. Oh, 怖い。これ死体かと思った人間と思った一瞬なんだこれ怖かった Anyway yeah, so there was this chess guy named Robert Snyder. He wrote books. He was at least a master. I don't think he was a grandmaster, but he was not super famous, but he was fairly famous in the chess world because he wrote books and blah, blah, blah. And he was a master and all this stuff. So he played, I was in Southern California, and he came to our elementary school. We had a chess program. So it's sort of interesting, you know, like there's these chess clubs, and they're in contact with elementary schools. I don't know how all that works, you know. But at some point, he wanted to take me on some kind of chess tour or something. Like, I don't know. I was probably the best at my elementary school in chess, okay? Which is not saying a lot. My dad and my brother mainly my dad, I think, taught me to play chess. So that probably gave me an advantage. Most of the students, probably 95% of the students, learned how to play chess when they were taught it at elementary school. I'm curious, like Americans, how many of them learn chess in school? I would guess that most don't. Anyway, so this guy wanted to take me on some chess tour or something, and my dad said no. I don't want my kid going off with this guy I don't know. And so anyway, so fast forward to, I think I was like 17 or 18 or 19 or something. And I'm sitting, I think I was doing homework, yeah. So I must have been 17 or something. And I had the TV on to CNN, okay, which I don't normally ever do. For some reason that day, I had the TV on to CNN. I don't know why. Normally it was random. And, you know, on CNN, I don't know if they still do it, but they probably do. There's like this ticker thing at the bottom, this thing that scrolls by. And scrolling by on the bottom of the screen, it said, famous chess master and author of chess books, whatever, Robert Snyder, has been arrested, accused of molesting a lot of, 15 children or something crazy. And I was like, holy shit, that was my chess teacher when I was a kid. I couldn't believe it. First of all, I didn't know he was that famous to be on CNN when he gets arrested. Secondly, it was just shocking, Damn, I dodged a bullet. Holy shit. I was cute as a little kid. Guaranteed he had his eye on me. So creepy stuff. And I went to, he had a little chess school, and I have this memory of being there, and there were 5 of us, all boys. There weren't, I don't remember any girls in the chess world. There probably were some, but I don't remember any. Anyway, just 5 or 6 boys, and he's teaching us chess. Okay, nothing weird happened. But he was always kind of, looking back on it, he was kind of creepy, creepy guy. Teaching chess to kids. Anyway, I don't want to demonize everybody who's teaching chess to kids. But that was a crazy story. And actually, I was, because I've been playing a lot of chess lately, I was looking at some openings. There's I think it's one of the Sicilian openings has this very specific variation. And I was looking at it in the database, and it said Snyder variation. I'm like, Snyder variation? Could that be the same guy? Is that possible? So I look it up, I researched more, and it's named after that dude. That dude has a variation named after him. And there were people commenting online saying this guy is a pedophile, he molests children, we need to change the name of this variation. So anyway, yeah, that was crazy. I have a book signed by him. Crazy. I don't know what happened to him. He's probably still in jail. Who knows? But I think so. When I went to middle school, though, I stopped being serious about the chess. And I guess it was two things. It was probably because I was playing water polo, Suikyu, and water polo, and that just took up too much time. I wouldn't have had time to go to chess tournaments because when it's the season for half of the school year, we have practice every day. Well, every Monday through Friday. Then we have games on the weekend, so there wouldn't have been time. But middle school, I don't think was every day. That's high school. Anyway, I wouldn't have had time. That was one thing. But also probably, by the time I got to middle school, I was worried about being cool, So playing chess is not so cool. At least when I was growing up. It's nice to see, like, there's many Indians playing chess now. Probably because Gukesh is going to be playing the World Championship. So, should I go out here? I'm worried sometimes about snakes. But I'm guessing that snakes don't go on the beach, towards the beach. Is that naive? I have the light on, so I guess I'm okay. I've never seen a snake out on the beach, but there's a first for everything. I'm sure it's possible they go on the beach, Like, if you look it up, it's not going to say in Google, it's not going to say, snakes never go on beaches. Never. That's not possible, but... 怖いね。いや、怖くないけど。I think これ画面で見るとなんかホラームービーみたいな感じになるよね。すごい。最近それ気づいた。ホラームービーみたいな。まあでも実際にいるとなんか星が綺麗だし、今日もっと見えるし、でもカメラで見るとそんなに見えないから怖いみたい。虫がやだ虫がいる。ビーチです。浜です。灯台もあります。灯台です。最近ここゴミが多いね。多分津波の影響かな。1月1日のこの近くに津波がありまして、ここでもちょっとあったね。でも、私その時その山に行ったんですよ。津波が怖くて、ちょっとあったらしいけど、である日なんかめっちゃゴミがついたんですね、この浜。嫌だね。嫌ですね。 何これ？いつもなんか新しいものが乗ってくるね。やだ。何これ？お風呂？お風呂っぽくないんだよね。なんだろうこれ。なんか貧乏のお風呂のかな。なんだろう。それかなんか工場で使うやつかな。わかんないな。わからないな。これも新しいな。いつもここで歩いてますよ。これは新しい。これさ、結構まっすぐで、あれかな、電柱？木は普通こんなにまっすぐ？普通の木？普通の木かな。Anyway, do you have anything else to say about chess? Well, I do actually, but maybe for another time. Oh, bamboo. Oh, this is nice. But actually, wait. いいね、これ。ガが近づく。やだ。ガが来るから電気消した。波の音聞こえるでしょ。波の音がいいよね。今日そんなに風がない。全然ない。この間風がちょっとひどくて大変でした。あ、ちょっと見えるか。でもなんていうフォーカスしてくれないね。星映ったらあまりフォーカスできないと思う。難しい。そうだね。ゴミが多い浜です。何これ？多分木かな。変わってる木だね。木なのかな。木だと思う。竹です。今日なんか竹が多いね。Anyway やだねゴミ。なんかちょっと掃除しようかと思ったけど、俺よくここで歩いてる。まあ ゴミは無限なんだけどまあでも問題は日本だとさ、ゴミなんていう分結なんていうカテゴリーに合わせなきゃいけないでしょ。プラ瓶とか缶とか燃えるゴミとか、それがめんどくさいね。あとなんかどうしたらいいかわからないものよくある。例えば俺だったら虫がいる。俺だったらこれどうやったらいいかよくわかんない。瓶じゃないよね。プラだと思う。プラでいいか。でたまになんかほぼプラだけどちょっと金属入ってるものとかあるでしょ。それどうしたらいいか全く分かんないね。そっか。でも例えばスタイロフォンある日スタイロフォンだけ片付くとか、一人でやるのが大変だと思う。大きいグループでやったらいいと思う。これ俺ここ4年間ぐらいいるんだけど、4年間でこんなにゴミが入ってくるのが初めてだから、津波の影響かと思います。よし、家に帰ろうか。多分今度そのチェスの話とか日本語でやってみようかな。だいたいさビワが日本人だと思う。こうするとYouTube がなんかロケーションを見てそう決めるみたいな感じだよね。よし、どうしよう。終わりかな。もう話したい話題なかったらあまり配信の意味ない感じしますね。その感じします。その気がします。その感じがします。どっちがいいかな。日本語って難しいね。OK、じゃあカットですね。終わりにします。ビア見てくれた人たちありがとうございます。バイバイ。